Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you like Elvis Presley or just stories about the past of music, please click the subscribe button and set your alarm. Click the bell to make sure you don't miss another fun video like this one. Like this video and share it with rock and roll friends. Let's begin. People all over the world who love music often call Elvis Presley the king of rock and roll. His legacy spans decades, and his impact is still felt today. Behind Elvis's glittering fame and dazzling performances was a man who lived a very interesting and often complicated life. One full of untold stories, rare photos, and moments that not even his biggest fans may know about. Today, we're going to explore some of these lesser-known parts of Elvis's life, shedding light on some stories that have been kept secret for years, and revealing some of the rarest photos of the man behind the legend. If you're an Elvis fan or just interested in learning more about him, keep reading. This trip will be interesting for someone who likes the long past of rock and roll, a different view of the king. Elvis's poor beginnings are one of the most interesting parts of his life that most of his fans still don't know. Most people think of Elvis as the larger-than-life star of show business, but not everyone knows about his early life in Tupelo, Mississippi. In fact, there is a rare photo of Elvis as a kid that just recently came to light and gives us a look into his early years. This photograph, which has never been seen by the public before, shows a young Elvis Presley, probably 13 years old, standing on the streets of Tupelo with a bicycle in his hands and wearing normal clothes. The scene behind him is busy with normal life, but it's the young Presley who stands out, hinting at the future fame that would come. This photo was found by chance by Wade Jones, who has always loved Elvis. It was sent to Jones by a friend of the Presley family who was both surprised and excited by the find. Not only does it show Elvis in a rare moment before he became famous, but it also lets fans see him as a normal young boy whose life was about to change forever. The photo was marked with the simple word Elvis, letting fans know that it was actually Elvis. For fans who only know him as the king of rock and roll, this picture is a surprise look into his past. While rare photos of Elvis's childhood are interesting, there's one picture that's especially a lot more dark and scary. This picture, which is often called the final photo, shows Elvis Presley in his casket at Graceland. It was published by the National Enquirer just 1 month after he died, and even though the Presley family never officially confirmed that it was real, the picture caused a lot of controversy. It was taken by a family member who then sold it to the National Enquirer for a reported amount of money, making it one of the most sensational pictures ever. Pics of Elvis's death. This picture is even more painful because it shows Elvis, who was full of life, energy, and charisma throughout his career, in a still, lifeless moment. Fans who had watched and admired him for years were shocked by how vulnerable he looked in this last picture. After Elvis's death, thousands of fans gathered at Graceland to mourn, and the world seemed to lose a music giant. Despite the controversy surrounding the picture, it is still an important part of the king's legacy, capturing the raw feeling of loss and the end of an era. One part of Elvis Presley that is often forgotten is his deep spirituality. He was known for his flashy stage performances and larger-than-life persona. Elvis was also very religious. He grew up in a Christian home and went to church with his mother, Gladys Presley, who was a pious Christian. Elvis often said that his mother made him love gospel music, a type of music that Elvis was very religious throughout his life, and his gospel music became one of his most beloved contributions to the music world. He recorded over 80 gospel songs during his career, and he loved them all. Some of his most heartfelt and emotional performances were on his gospel recordings, like How Great Thou Art and Peace in the Valley. His devotion to gospel music wasn't just about faith, it was a way for him to express himself. He was a famous rock and roll star around the world, but gospel music helped him stay grounded in his faith and connect with something bigger than himself. It became an important part of his musical identity. Jesse Garon Presley, Elvis's twin brother, died young. This is one of the saddest and least known stories in his life. Though the Presley family was having money problems and living in a villasque, the death of Elvis' twin brother left a deep mark on Elvis and his family. Bad area. Losing a child was a terrible thing to go through. Elvis was born just 35 minutes after Jesse died, and this loss was said to have had a big impact on him throughout his life. It's clear that his bond with his brother stayed strong, even though he never met him. Elvis's loss of Jesse was both a personal tragedy and a turning point in his life. It is thought that the loss made Elvis more depressed, gave him feelings of abandonment, and made him afraid of losing Jesse in the future. Try to deal with your sadness. Elvis later changed the spelling of his middle name from Aaron to Aaron, which is a biblical form of the name. The death of his twin brother was a constant presence in Elvis's life, and some people even think it was one of the reasons he had problems with drugs and his mental health. Later, it's interesting to note that Jesse Garon Presley was never given a headstone or grave marker. His gravesite is still unmarked to this day, which adds another layer of sadness and mystery to the story of Elvis's early life. Before Elvis became famous around the world, he was just another young man trying to make a living. After high school, Elvis worked a number of different jobs to make ends meet. One of his most famous jobs was as a truck driver, which is very different from the amazing performances he would later give. Define his career, but Elvis Presley's life was about to change in a big way. It all started with a single recording session in 1954 when he made a choice that would change the course of his whole life. At Memphis's Sun Studios, he met Sam Phillips, the studio's founder, who was always on the lookout for good artists. Elvis recorded his first song, "That's All Right," and the rest, as they say, is history. This recording was the start of a career that would change the sound of popular music forever. With his unique mix of rock, blues, and gospel music, Elvis quickly rose to fame and won people's hearts. By the time he was 21, Elvis Presley was a well-known name. His songs were going up the charts, his movies were making a lot of money, and his name became linked to the very essence of rock and roll. Elvis's rise from a struggling truck driver to an international star shows how talented and determined he was. He also had a huge effect on music that will last for generations. A picture taken in 1956 shows one of the most interesting and romantic moments in Elvis's career. Alfred Verheimer took the picture, which shows Elvis in a private moment. Many fans later called the young woman in the picture the girl in the kiss. For years, no one knew who the woman was, and the picture became one of the most famous and talked about pictures of Elvis. In 2015, Barbara Gray, the woman in the picture, came forward and said she was just a fan who had been to one of Elvis's concerts and later gotten in touch with him. The two of them shared a tender moment, and the picture captures that brief but powerful connection. Marianne, now in her 70s, she told the world her story, which solved a long-standing mystery and gave fans a new look into the personal side of Elvis Presley. Graceland, the famous mansion that Elvis called home for many years, is more than just a house. It's a symbol of Elvis's life, his rise to fame, and his eventual fall from grace. Graceland was bought by Elvis when he was 22 years old and became the King's Sanctuary, a place where he could get away from the pressures of fame and live his own term. From Elvis's custom-made furniture to the famous Jungle Room, which was styled in an eclectic way to reflect his personality, Graceland became a place where fans from all over the world went to honor him after he died in 1982. Since Priscilla Presley opened Graceland to the public, it has become one of the most popular private homes in the United States. Every year, thousands of fans go to see Elvis's grave and walk through the rooms where he lived. Graceland standing as a testament to the ongoing legacy of the man who changed music and pop culture forever. Elvis Presley loved his fans deeply. He showed this through personal interactions, autograph signings, and just taking the time to greet people. Even when he was very famous, Elvis was always willing to meet with his fans. He was known for being kind and generous. One of the most touching things Elvis did was get a polio shot live on TV in 1956. It was a brave move to raise awareness. For Elvis, it wasn't just about the music. It was also about connecting with people. His fans saw him not only as a superstar, but also as someone who genuinely cared about them. He wrote letters to fans, visited them in hospitals, and took time out of his busy schedule to spend time with them. This deep connection with his audience was part of what made Elvis such a lasting figure in the hearts of millions. Elvis Presley's life took many changes. From the sadness of losing his twin brother to the casting of his grain, his talent, heart, and love of music continue to inspire and captivate people today, whether they're looking at rare photos, listening to his music, or reading about his life. Elvis Presley's influence is still strong. If you like this video and want to learn more about the King, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Elvis's life. What's your favorite Elvis song or memory? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep rockin' and rollin'.